Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Your English podcast, the best way to improve your English.
My name is Alex.
My name is Nina.
And we're really glad to be back with you here on your English podcast.
Yeah, it's great. This is your space, really, for learning and, well, getting to grips with English.
We really believe that understanding the why behind the language, how it works, can be a massive motivator.
Exactly. And that's what we try to explore here together. We also look at those sort of daily habits that can make a real difference.
And as always, we really aim to break things down simply, especially if you're maybe newer to the language.
So today we are doing a deep dive. We're looking into something really fundamental in English grammar.
Yes, the articles. A, an, and the.
They seem so small, don't they? Tiny little words.
They do, but they have quite a lot of power, actually, in defining nouns, specifying things.
Think of them like little signposts, guiding your listener, helping them understand exactly what you're referring to.
Absolutely. Articles are just key for clarifying information. They build context. They even add subtle nuances, shades of meaning.
And the way English uses articles is, well, it's pretty specific. It's not something you find in every language, is it?
Not at all. Which is why mastering them is such a really crucial step for learners.
So in this deep dive, we're going to really get into it. We'll cover the different types, indefinite a and an.
The definite.
And also that sometimes tricky one, the zero article. When you don't use one at all.
Yeah, we'll look at plenty of examples, see how they work in practice. We'll even touch on where they came from, their origins.
And cover the really important rules for using them correctly.
It might seem like a small grammar point, understanding articles, but honestly, it's vital, really vital for speaking English fluently.
And confidently, too. That's the goal, isn't it?
Okay.
So shall we jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so to really see how these signposts work, let's look at some actual examples. Putting articles into action.
Good idea, because they are just fundamental for making the meaning clear. If you just say, I saw dog in park, it feels incomplete, right?
Definitely. Something's missing. So what if I say, I saw a dog in the park? What's the difference there?
Well, a dog tells us two things. One dog, and importantly, it suggests it was just any dog, not one we already know about or have talked about before.
Right, just some dog.
Yeah.
Now, what if I then say the dog was very friendly?
Okay. Now, the dog, that clearly points back to the specific dog you just mentioned, the one in the park.
It's not just any dog anymore.
Exactly. It's the one that's now established between us. We both know which dog you mean.
And that really highlights a core idea, doesn't it? We tend to use a or an when we first introduce something.
Or when we're talking about it in a general, non-specific way.
Yeah. And then we switch to the when it becomes specific, when it's already been mentioned, or we both just know which one.
Right. The context makes it clear.
Think about how important that is for avoiding confusion. Imagine you just said to me, I need umbrella.
I might wonder, well, which one? Is there a specific one you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you say, I need an umbrella, I get it. You just need any umbrella. Doesn't matter which.
But then if you say, I need the umbrella,
then I know there's a particular one we're both thinking of. Maybe the one by the door, or the one I borrowed yesterday.
Exactly. And articles show up in questions too, don't they? Asking, did you see a bird is different from, where is the station?
Yeah. Different levels of specificity implied there.
And in negative sentences too, like, I don't have a car.
Yeah.
General lack of a car. Versus, she didn't see the movie, referring to a specific movie.
Okay. And let's not forget the zero article again. Times when we just don't use any article.
Right. And what's really interesting there is how sometimes using an article or, leaving it out can actually change the meaning. sometimes subtly, sometimes quite a bit.
Do you have an example of that?
Sure. Like if you say, I enjoy listening to music, that's broad, general, music in general. But if you say, I enjoyed listening to the music they played last night, now that's specific. It refers to a particular instance of music.
Maybe we were both at the same concert or party.
Exactly. It implies a shared context or experience.
That's a really good point. So for you listening, paying close attention to articles when you read, it's not just about grammar rules.
No, not at all. It's a great way to get a deeper sense of the context, what exactly is being communicated.
So connecting this back, you can really see how getting articles right just sharpens your communication.
It makes your English clearer, definitely more precise, and, well, just easier for people to understand what you mean.
Okay, so we've got a better feel for what articles do and some basic ways they work. But where do they even come from? Let's look at their origin story.
Yeah, the history of English is fascinating, isn't it? And articles are part of that whole evolution. They actually started showing up way back in Old English.
Really? Old English?
Yeah, but they looked and worked quite differently back then. They've changed, quite a bit over hundreds of years.
So what about the words themselves? A and they. Where do they trace back to?
Well, a comes from the Old English word an, which simply meant one.
Ah, okay. So it directly connects to being singular.
Exactly. It emphasized the oneness. And an is basically just a version of an that evolved to be used before vowel sounds, just easier to say.
Makes sense phonetically. And they, what's its history?
The also comes from Old English. It evolved from a word a, that's the sound a, which was actually a demonstrative pronoun.
Like that or those.
Exactly. So even way back then, it had that sense of pointing to something specific, that one.
Wow. So even in really old texts, these forms were doing some of the basic jobs they do now.
Pretty much, yeah, serving those fundamental purposes.
And did other languages influence this, besides Old English itself?
Oh, definitely. I mean, other Germanic languages like German or Dutch have their own article systems, but English usage was also shaped later on by Latin and especially French after the Norman conquest in 1066.
Right, that huge influx of French vocabulary and grammar.
Yeah, that linguistic contact helped refine English grammar, including standardizing how articles were used more.
So it wasn't just random changes over time, it was more like a gradual shift towards more structure.
Exactly. A move towards having clearer ways to show if something was specific or general, from a more flexible system in Old English to the stricter rules we have now.
And does knowing this history actually help learners today? I mean, practically speaking.
I think it can. Understanding they came from ideas like one and that specific thing gives a sort of logic to it. It makes the rules feel less random, maybe easier to remember.
It provides a kind of foundation.
Yeah, a deeper appreciation for why they exist. They're not just, annoying little grammar rules. They serve a real purpose in making things clear. Like understanding the foundations helps you understand the whole building.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's focus now on the indefinite ones. A and an. What's their main job?
Right. So a and an. Their basic meaning is to signal a non-specific, singular, countable noun.
Keyword there. Non-specific.
Exactly. It tells you we're talking about just one thing out of a possible group, not a particular one.
And the rule for choosing between a and an, that's usually one of the first things learners tackle, isn't it?
It is. And the basic principle is pretty clear. A before a consonant sound and before a vowel sound.
And you emphasize sound there. That's crucial, right?
Absolutely vital. Because it's not about the first letter of the word, it's about how it sounds when you say it. That's where mistakes often happen.
Can you give us a clear example showing that difference?
Sure. We say a book, Book starts with a B sound, a consonant, easy.
Right.
We say an apple. Apple starts with an A sound, a vowel sound. Also straightforward.
Right.
But then you get a word like university. It starts with the letter U, a vowel. But we say a university. Why?
Because university starts with a Y sound, doesn't it? Like J University.
Exactly. It begins with a consonant sound, J, even though the spelling uses a vowel letter. So the sound dictates A.
And you can hear it, can't you? And university sounds a bit awkward. A university flows better.
It does. That phonetic rule really helps with the rhythm and flow of the language. An apple is easier than an apple.
And as we mentioned, these articles tell us the object is just one of many, not identified.
Correct. No specific identity attached yet.
So when would you typically use a or an in everyday speech?
Well, the most common situation is definitely when you mention something for the first time.
Introducing it into the conversation.
Yeah. Like, I bought a new phone yesterday. First mention, just one non-specific phone out of all the phones available.
Well, it doesn't give us any more details, does it? We don't know the brand, the color.
Nope. Just that it's one phone. The specifics might come later, perhaps using the.
So for you learning English, any tips for drilling this a versus an rule?
The absolute key is to train your ear. Focus on the initial sound of the word that follows the article. Don't just look at the spelling.
Maybe saying words aloud.
Definitely. Flashcards can work well too. Say the phrase like an hour, a house, an umbrella, a uniform. Hear the difference, feel the flow.
Visual associations might help some people too.
Could do. Maybe picture A with consonant-sounding words and with vowel-sounding words. Whatever works for you.
And practical exercises.
Yeah.
Like forming sentences.
Yeah, that's great practice. Just describe things around you. There's a window, here's an orange. Make that conscious choice each time.
Stepping back then, getting A and N right is really a basic building block.
It absolutely is. It
Yeah.
signals non-specificity clearly and makes your English sound much more natural from the get-go.
Okay, so A and N are covered. Let's switch gears to the definite article. The. What's his main role?
Right, the. Its purpose is very different. It points to something specific, something identifiable.
It signals that the noun coming up is particular, and we know which one we mean.
Exactly, and that knowledge, that identifiability usually comes from a few places. Often it's because it's already been mentioned.
Like our dog example earlier. I saw a dog. The dog was friendly.
Precisely. Or if I say, could you pass me the salt? We both know which salt, the one on the table, presumably. The context makes it specific.
Or sometimes the thing is just unique, right? There's only one.
Yeah, classic examples are the sun, the moon, the Eiffel Tower, the internet. We use the because it's inherently specific.
Now, it's interesting to contrast that unique item use of the with those times we use the zero article, even for things that seem specific in a way.
That's a really important distinction, like saying she goes to university versus she goes to the university on the hill. General concept versus a specific one.
Right, and there are also those set rules for using the with geographical names.
Yes, like names of rivers, the Nile, the Thames, oceans and seas, the Atlantic, the Mediterranean, mountain ranges, the Alps, the Andes.
But not usually individual mountains, right? We say Mount Everest, not the Mount Everest.
Correct. Or individual lakes, Lake Superior, not the Lake Superior. English geography and articles can be a bit tricky.
So for practice, looking at sentences and figuring out why the is used or not used seems helpful.
Very helpful. Or those fill-in-the-blank exercises where you have to decide if the bits, it forces you to analyze the context.
And you just hear the everywhere, don't you? Formal writing, casual chat, it's unavoidable.
Absolutely. Which makes getting a feel for it really essential.
But then there are the exceptions, the curveballs.
Mm-hmm.
Times you might think theory should be there, but it isn't.
Oh, yes. English loves its exceptions. We mentioned see you Monday, not see you the Monday.
Or meals often.
No.
We had breakfast. Not usually. We had the breakfast. Unless you mean a specific breakfast event, perhaps.
Exactly. And names of most countries, as we said, France, Japan, Brazil. But then the UK, the USA, the Philippines.
It can feel a bit random sometimes.
It can, which is why exposure, reading, and listening a lot is so incredibly important. You start to internalize these patterns, even the quirky ones.
Do you have any sort of personal mental checklist or strategy for deciding on the air?
Well, for me, it often comes back to shared knowledge. I ask myself, can my listener picture the specific one I mean? Because it's unique. Because we just talked about it. Because the situation makes it obvious. Usually, yeah. And I just try to notice it constantly. How do native speakers use it here? Why did they choose the there, or why didn't they?
And for me, I kind of think of the as a spotlight. Is the spotlight already on this thing for both of us? If yes, use the.
That's a good way to put it. If it's the only sun, the spotlight's on it. If we just mentioned a specific report, the spotlight shifts to the report.
So looking at the overall impact, mastering the is really about precision, isn't it?
It really is. It tells your audience you're both on the same page about which thing you're discussing. Avoids ambiguity.
Okay, that's the covered. Now let's tackle some common questions. Areas where learners often get a bit stuck with articles. We know it's tricky.
Definitely. Let's do some Q&A. Clear things up.
All right, a really frequent one. When should I definitely not use an article with uncountable nouns? Things like water, advice, information.
Good question. And the answer usually involves the zero article again. When you're talking about these uncountable things in a general, abstract way, you typically don't use any article.
So information is power, not an information or the information generally.
Exactly. Or I need advice, not I need an advice. Now you can say, can I have the information you promised me? If it's specific information.
Ah, so specificity brings the back into play, even with uncountables sometimes.
Yes. Or you might say a piece of information or a glass of water using other words to make it countable. But the noun itself, when general and uncountable, often takes no article.
Okay, another big one. How do I really nail the difference between using an and the? That core distinction trips people up.
It does, and it boils down to that specific versus non-specific idea we keep coming back to.
Is it the first time you're mentioning this singular countable thing? Is it just one of many?
If yes, then usually a or an.
But is it something already introduced? Is it the only one that exists? Is it clear from the situation which one you mean?
If yes to those, then it's usually the. It's all about, can your listener identify the particular one you mean?
That's the key question to ask yourself.
Absolutely. And what about plural nouns? How do articles work there?
Good point. We don't use a or an with plurals, obviously, because it mean one.
Right. But we can use the or the zero article. So I like dogs. Dogs in general, zero article.
Versus the dogs living next door are noisy, specific dogs, so we use the.
Exactly. General plurals often get the zero article. Specific plurals often get the.
That's a really useful distinction, and to really get a feel for all this.
Look at real examples. Sentences, dialogue, stories. See how articles are used naturally by native speakers in different situations? Context is everything.
Maybe take a paragraph from a book or article and actively analyze it. Ask why this article here.
Great exercise. Really break it down. Why a, why the, why nothing.
And if you're still stuck on tricky cases,
there are tons of great resources out there. Good grammar websites, detailed learner dictionaries, grammar books, even online forums where you can ask specific questions.
Don't be afraid to look things up or ask for help.
Definitely not. Actively tackling your specific questions, the things you find confusing, is a huge part of learning. It solidifies the rules and clears up those doubts.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've hit a and they and common questions. Let's properly focus on the zero article now. When exactly do we use nothing?
Right, the zero article. Using no article at all. We've touched on it, but let's consolidate. It happens a lot with uncountable nouns when they're general.
Like, I love coffee or knowledge is power.
Exactly. Also, with abstract nouns often, happiness is important. We need peace.
And plural countable nouns when speaking generally.
Yes. Cats are independent. Computers have changed the world. We're talking about cats or computers as a general category.
We also mentioned names of most countries, right? She lives in Canada. He visited Japan.
Correct. Most countries, cities, continents, individual lakes, individual mountains, usually zero article.
But with those exceptions, we noted the USA, the UK, the Netherlands.
Yeah, those plurals or Republic Kingdom type names often take the. You kind of just have to learn those specific ones.
Can you give a few more examples where the zero article is used with uncountables, just to reinforce it?
Sure. Think about materials. Furniture is often made of wood, or subjects. She's studying biology, or meals. Let's have dinner. General concepts.
And the contrast is key, isn't it? I like cheese, general, versus pass me the cheese, specific cheese on the table.
Precisely. The presence or absence of the often signals that shift from general to specific.
We also talk about plural countables in general. Birds can fly.
Yep. But the birds in that cage look sad. Specific birds.
Any tips for remembering when not to use an article? The zero article situations.
Making lists can help. Situations with articles versus situations without. Seeing them side by side highlights the patterns.
Comparing I like the music at this party with I like music.
Exactly. Also pay attention to those fixed expressions. They often use the zero article where you might not expect it.
Like modes of transport. Go by train, travel by air.
Right. Or places at school, in hospital, especially in British English, on foot.
These often need just memorizing through use.
Pretty much. Exposure and practice are key for those idiomatic uses.
And context, as always, plays a huge role. Does the sentence feel general or specific?
That's the underlying question. If it's general, abstract, or a category, zero article is often the way to go.
So, for practice, reading widely and noticing these gaps where articles aren't used is important.
Definitely. Actively look for the zero article. Ask yourself why it's omitted in that particular sentence.
Taking a step back then, understanding the zero article is just as important as knowing when to use a, an, or the.
It really is. It helps you avoid overusing articles, which is a common issue for learners, and helps you structure sentences more naturally and correctly. It's about knowing when not to signal specificity.
Okay, wow. We have definitely covered a lot of ground in this deep dive on articles. Let's maybe do a quick recap of the main takeaways.
Good idea. So we started with the indefinite articles a and an. Remember, for singular, countable nouns that are non-specific. First mention, usually.
And the choice depends on the sound consonant sound for a, vowel sound for an.
Then the definite article, the. That's our pointer word. For specific nouns, things already known, unique, or clear from context.
And finally, the zero article. Using nothing. Common with general uncountable nouns, general plural nouns, and many proper names like most countries, cities, plus those fixed expressions.
And it's crucial to remember why articles matter so much. They are fundamental for clarity. They make your meaning precise.
Avoid ambiguity.
Yeah.
Tell the listener if you mean any one or this specific one.
Exactly. And like anything in language learning, practice is just essential. You can't get around it.
Repetition, doing exercises, reviewing examples, that's what makes these rules stick, makes them feel more automatic.
Alex, thinking back to when you were really focusing on this, any personal tips that worked well for you?
Yeah, actually, for me it was really about actively listening. Tuning my ear into how native speakers use them in real conversations, in films, podcasts.
Just noticing the patterns in natural speech.
Exactly. And if I heard something and wasn't sure why the chi was used or why no article was used, I try to consciously think about it, maybe look it up later. Connecting the rules to real-life usage was key for me.
That makes a lot of sense. For me, Nina, it was more about combining things. When I read, I'd actively highlight or just notice the articles and think, why this one?
Conscious analysis while reading.
Yeah, and listening too, paying attention. Even watching movies, sometimes I'd pause and look at the subtitles if something caught my ear regarding article use. That mix of reading, listening, and watching really helped reinforce things.
Great tips. And now for all of you listening, the real work begins, doesn't it? Actively applying this.
Absolutely. Try to be more conscious of articles when you speak and write English today, tomorrow, this week. Think, should I use I and the or nothing here? Why?
The more you do that, the more second nature it becomes.
And we're not quite done with articles yet. In our next deep dive, we're planning to look at some trickier areas, more complex exceptions, more subtle nuances, so definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah, there's always more depth to explore. And please, if you still have questions about what we covered today, or maybe you have your own struggles or successes with articles you want to share,
please do. Use the comment section. We love hearing from you, seeing your questions, understanding your learning process.
Remember, it's that consistent effort, that curiosity about how the language works, even the small details. That's what really builds fluency.
Couldn't agree more. Keep at it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into English articles. We really hope it was useful for you.
Yeah, I hope it clarifies some things. Don't forget to subscribe to your English podcast so you don't miss future episodes and deep dives.
We wish you all the best with your continued English learning journey. Keep practicing.